How to segment your list for maximum profitability. In this video, I'm going to share a powerful segmentation strategy that'll serve you well no matter what your niche is in the e-com space. Okay. This is a strategy that I personally default to when I first bring on a client and we need to move quickly on generating results. This is a segmentation strategy that I can personally count on time and time again. It also gives me time to build out a custom segmentation strategy as I take time to study consumer behavior and map out customer journeys for the specific audience of a brand I'm working with. Sometimes it is unnecessary because this strategy that I'm going to share with you simply works like a charm. But before we dive in, for anyone that is not familiar with what segmentation is, I do want to give you a quick explanation and rundown of it through a visual I built. You know how I like my visuals. So let's jump into it. So let's pretend this gray block here is your email list. And within this email list, there are little groups of the audience that we can kind of segment out. For example, an engaged 30-day, a VIP, a potential VIP segment, some loyal customers, and then non-customers. So I just wanted to show you this quick visual. All these segments are inside of your list. It's just your job to kind of create these segments and figure out what's going to be the best way to break down your audience. Okay. So back to the doc. As you saw, it's simply a way that you break up your entire list. And when you do this correctly, you're actually able to send a multitude of campaigns a week without exceeding whatever amount of touch points you prefer per unique subscriber. So if per unique subscriber, you only want them to receive 2-3 emails a week, you can actually manage that properly when you have proper segmentation, essentially. So also with segmentation, you will increase the overall performance and deliverability of your email marketing channel. Okay, this is very important. This actually helps with deliverability. With this segmentation and in leveraging segmentation, you do this in efforts of creating tailored experiences for the people that are on your list so that you can actually build authentic relationships. When you're able to segment a specific group of people out of your audience and then create a personalized experience based on that segment, you're just going to be able to build more authentic relationships, which is, what I preach. And if you've seen the full Klaviyo guide that I put together, that's literally the forefront of email marketing strategy, marketing in general. If you focus on building authentic relationships, you're going to generate incredible results. So what's also great about leveraging segmentation is that it actually helps you to make more money and, like I said, foster better customer relationships and essentially help your brand grow over time. So with that said, let's jump right into it. RFM. So RFM is something I want to touch on before I actually give you the segmentation strategy, because this is very important. I don't want to just, give you things to plug in and then you don't really understand how it works, or you can't even go out and build your own segments properly. But really quick, let me get a sip of water. All right. So the R in RFM, or RFM essentially stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. Recency is the data of when someone last purchased. Okay. Frequency is the data on how many times someone has purchased over a particular timeline that you set. And then monetary value is the data that consists of how much they spent over a particular timeline that you set. Leveraging an RFM analysis is powerful because it allows you to see the different patterns and behavior of your customers, which leads you to know how to segment and then how to target these segments. Okay. This is very, very important. When you know how to segment, you will then, as a byproduct, know how to target them, how to communicate with them. Okay. This is where you can really optimize and elevate your brand, because the whole point of RFM is to create custom segments for your business based on what is important to you at any given point, thus eliminating any sort of competition or market redundancy through your messaging. Okay. This is such a big thing. You're essentially getting so custom with your audience, creating such tailored experiences because you've conducted an RFM analysis that has allowed you to build proper segments based on what is important to you in any given point, This eliminates competition. That's so powerful. It eliminates competition, and more importantly, it reduces and even eliminates the redundancy in your messaging, the market redundancy as well. For example, multiple brands talking about the same thing or communicating the same way about a particular product or idea that you're discussing via email. Now, if you don't have a lot of data when it comes to an RFM analysis, simply work with what you got. A lot of it is based off averages. So if you just have a small amount of data, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, continue to build up data and try to ingest as much data as possible. But if you don't have a lot to begin with, simply work with what you got. It's still going to work out. You're just going to want to consistently conduct RFM analysis to get the most up to date information or data driven decisions that you can make. Keep in mind, while the RFM analysis is very powerful, so this is kind of touching on what I just said, it's a tool that you should consistently leverage. It doesn't matter what level you're at, consistently leverage it. Do not conduct it once and use that information as the end all be all. Okay? You don't want to do that. When you conduct an RFM analysis and you leverage that information, essentially what you're going to do, or what's going to happen over time, is you're going to hit those targets. You're going to fall in line with that, which is naturally going to push the average even further as you continue to improve and optimize. So that's why it's important to consistently conduct an RFM analysis so you're up to date with the type of data-driven decisions you're making. So as you optimize, your marketing with RFM analysis, like I said, you'll naturally take in more data and improve the data of newer customers, which means your original analysis may be outdated. And how quickly that happens is based on the amount of data you're ingesting. Regardless, okay, at the bare minimum, conduct this on a quarterly basis. Conduct an RFM analysis on a quarterly basis. With that said, once you find out the best way to break up your audience based on your current goals as a brand, consistently test different angles and ways of communicating to those segments to figure out the best way to eke out optimal results. Okay? You want to figure out, based on testing, what's going to be the best way essentially to eke out the best results you possibly can while keeping at the forefront building authentic relationships, which is naturally only going to increase the longevity of your brand. Now, I'm merely scratching the surface here. If you want me to craft an in-depth video on RFM analysis and how to tie it in with different marketing formats, drop a comment below. Okay, drop a comment below so that I know it's worth putting the time into, because this is something that I can get very, very in depth with. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. And if you do want to dive deeper into this, a simple Google search will return a ton of results on RFM analysis. So simply plug it in and it'll return a bunch of results back to you. So let's move on to how to create segments. So a quick Klaviyo crash course on the technical side of things. First, I want you to remember this. When you're building segments, you're going to have the option to connect multiple data points. And you're going to be able to do that with an and or an or connector. Okay, just remember, and is exclusive. So if you're doing data point X and data point Y, you're naturally going to exclude others. But if you do or X and or Y, X or Y, it's going to be one or the other. It's actually inclusive. So any data point that contains X and that contains Y or Y is going to actually bring them together. But if it's X and Y, if there are data points that are just X or just Y, they're actually going to be excluded. So using the and connector, it's only going to bring in data points that contain X and Y, if that makes sense. I know that could have sounded a little confusing. But now that you understand that, you're simply going to navigate to list and segments, okay? And from there, you're going to click a button in the top right, create list/segment. And then from there, it's going to give you two options, list or segment. Just select segment, just name it, and begin to define it. There's many ways to define a segment, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with the tool. It's pretty straightforward, and after playing around with it for a bit, you'll quickly understand it. However, if you want a more technical how-to explanation, I recommend you go straight to the source and watch the Klaviyo segmentation video for a better understanding. You can access that through the partner portal, which, by the way, if you're wanting to leverage Klaviyo for as your ESP, by the way, it's so much more than that. But if you want to leverage that for your email marketing, you should join or become a Klaviyo partner and gain all the different access to all the resources they have in their partner portal. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this since you can easily watch a short video on a more technical explanation from the source. And the whole reason you've come here is to learn how to segment your list for maximum profitability, not a button clicking tutorial. So let's now jump into what segments to actually create. Let's see. What segments to create. So this is going to vary, of course, based on what your strategy looks like. But if you want reliable segments you can always count on, based on the idea of us sending email campaigns out a minimum of 2 times a week, then it's going to go as follows. First segment is an engaged 30-day. It's very simple. Typically, what I'll do for deliverability purposes and to ensure I'm emailing people that are legitimately interested in the emails is I'll only send to people who've opened an email at least once in the last 30 days. Okay? Just once. The next segment is a VIP segment. So this segment is very powerful, and it will typically be your smallest segment, but a highly profitable segment of people that you seriously want to take care of. These are people that have spent more than 3 times your average order value fairly recently with a high frequency. You can get very creative with how you communicate with this segment. And now I'm going to show you the plotting to learn the average number of orders, which is going to help you craft your VIP segment. So just give me a second here. All right, so I had to pause real quick and pull it up because I actually forgot to pull up the plotting chart. So let's actually jump into that. I want to show you this. It's actually pretty cool and it'll save you a lot of time. So this is the plotting chart, okay? Essentially, you have your number of orders column. You're going to want to create segments of this, and then you're going to know what number of people. This is where you're going to plug things in, okay? So let me actually change that color to, I guess let's make it like a light orange. That's where you're going to plug in your numbers. This will be automatically calculated for you as well as this. And then you'll be able to visualize this with a chart. So essentially what's going to happen is you go into Klaviyo, you're going to create a segment for people that have purchased once overall time, okay? Let's say that's probably going to be your biggest segment. So let's say there are 500 customers that have done that, okay? And then you're going to create another segment for people that have purchased twice overall time. And let's say it just gets smaller as we go and so on. 275, let's say 75, 35, 10, and 5. Let's say one person has purchased 8 times, one person has purchased 11 times. So this is essentially what you're going to do. You're going to see how it automatically calculated over here. And this is going to be the weighted total. And what's going to happen is you gain the total number of people. Okay, then it's going to perform this calculation, right? So the sum of the weighted total divided by the total number of people. And you're going to get an average number of orders, which is 2.087, just rounded down to 2 per person. That's the average number of orders. And so this is going to help you with your frequency when you're creating your VIP segment. And so this is very important to know because if you know that the average, let's say your store average order value is, I don't know, $450. Let's say you're a little bit more high ticket or there's just so many complementary products you're able to sell in any given order. Well, let's say $450, 3 times that. Let's see, I need a calculator here. Or so that's $13.50. Okay. So 1350, fairly recently, you want to take a look, you want to dive into the data. How frequently do people normally buy? Is it once every few months? Is it once a month, etc.? Let's say for someone to be considered recent, pretty recently, it's in the last 30 days. And then with a high frequency. Okay. So frequency here, if the average order number or average number of orders is two, let's say above two, greater than two, right? So that'll account for your frequency. And then that is kind of what that's kind of how you build out your VIP segment. Anyone that spent three times your order value, which in this case it's 1350 or more, in the last 30 days, and overall all time has spent or has placed more than two orders, right? So that's kind of your VIP. Then you have your potential VIPs. This is another great segment with a lot of potential. These are people that, similar to the VIPs, have spent more than three times their AOV fairly recently. Just their frequency is lower than a VIP. So it'd be anything less than two. This segment is highly, highly profitable. Okay. But it also has major potential to bring even further value to your brand in terms of conversion if you can increase their frequency. Okay, so now you're kind of getting to see how you're going to approach communicating with the VIPs versus potential VIPs. And you can see with potential VIPs, the objective is kind of to move them into that VIP position because that's ideally what you want. You want your list full of VIPs. The next segment we're going to build out is what I like to call loyalists. This is a segment of customers that are loyal to your brand. Okay, hence the term loyalist. I know, super creative. They consistently purchase, but the amount they've spent as a customer is lower than the others. It's not enough to make them a VIP, but they're obviously still a valued customer that you want to take care of and try to push into a VIP position. Ultimately, they have good recency, good frequency. We just need to increase their monetary value. Okay, that's it. They have good recency, which means they've purchased recently. They have good frequency, which they're placing a good amount of orders over a period of time. You just have to increase their monetary value. They're not spending that much every order or in general, and we need to get them up there, right next to the VIPs. We want them to become a VIP. So you can get creative in how you turn these people into VIPs, which is very powerful for the profitability and scaling of your brand, because typically loyalists make up a large percentage of your email list or your customer base. And these are people that if you can push them into a VIP position, that is just room for massive scale. Okay. Lost loyalists. So these are people that they were loyal at one point, but they're kind of on the verge of getting lost. Their recency has dropped. Okay. Their frequency is still on par with current loyalists. It's just that these people are on the verge of being lost and their monetary value is simply less than three times the AOV. You want to reignite the loyalty of these people to your brand. Okay. Because you can reignite them, they'll be loyalists. And then you can simply push your loyalists into VIP positions. And now you can see where it's much easier to leverage email marketing to scale your brand. Because now instead of doing cold acquisition, you're simply working with people that have already been customers. They already know, like, and trust you. Maybe to different degrees depending on the segment, but then that's your job to actually get them to know, like, and trust you to the max. Okay. That's what's going to help elevate your brand for longevity, scale, impact, and profit. Okay. Next are rebounds. So this consists of a group of customers that have spent more than three times the AOV and has high frequency, but their recency is at its worst. They haven't purchased in a long time. These are people that are valuable in so many ways. And ideally, you want them to come back and be a customer again, hence the name Rebound. Super creative naming conventions. I know. But again, I feel like I'm saying this for every segment, but this is a very, very powerful segment because if you can tailor your communication to them in a way that brings them back, again, this is has so much potential for elevating your brand and scaling it up in sales because these are people that have pretty much acted like a VIP. They just they need a little bit more communication from you. They need a little bit more trust with you. They need to just get back into that rhythm of spending money with you, but you obviously providing value as a brand to them. The next segment is new engaged subs. This segment will consist of people who have recently subscribed and opened an email but have not placed an order. You'll certainly want to communicate with them in a very different way, as the objective is to get them to make their first purchase. That's the main objective with new engaged subs, because they haven't placed an order. They're just getting to know you. So obviously, you're going to have to cater to them in a very specific way so that they can then become a customer and you take them through that journey of becoming a VIP. So these are segments that I default to and base my campaign strategy with when I need to go in and get quick wins. Okay. This is merely what I default to for quick wins. It's very powerful. Sometimes I can think of right now one client that I have that we haven't even changed anything yet because it's just been working so well. But yeah, depending on some brands, like I said, you may use this indefinitely as it works like a charm. But I definitely recommend leveraging your own RFM analysis and figuring out what criteria and objectives are important to you at a particular point in time and create custom segments for your brand. Nothing can beat that, as you'll be in a consistent state of optimization. Seriously. In fact, I've purposely explained each segment so that you can get used to conducting an RFM analysis with these so you can create these precisely for any brand you own or are serving. Okay, I could have easily just put up screenshots, say, here's the segments, go plug them in, cool. But I've purposely written them out written them out because I want you to understand why I've created these segments this way, why they work the way that they do, and how to actually do it. That's why I touched on RFM analysis, because nothing is going to beat that. Literally nothing. If you do that, like I said earlier, you're eliminating competition and you're eliminating market redundancy. You're simply putting yourself in a league of your own. Okay? I can give you the exact definitions that are a bit more general and, they serve you well, but you're going to have to work for them. Okay? If you want me to actually put together a doc or just, share with you a little bit deeper, follow me on Instagram and DM me. Yes, shameless plug. And politely asking for the exact definitions, and I'll gladly support you. Okay. It's not like I'm trying to hold this back from you. I'm trying to serve you in the best way possible. And, that saying where it's give a man a fish and he's able to eat for a day, or teach a man to fish and he can eat for a lifetime. I'm trying to teach you so that you can leverage this for a lifetime and not have to, be stuck to whatever tactic is working now that someone gave you, right? Frameworks is what's going to set you apart, not only in your own brand, but in brands that you serve, if you're a service provider. But this is massive. So again, obviously politely ask for them and just be patient, because I have a lot of people that are swarming the DMs, but rest assured I will get to you. Now you've actually been equipped with a lot of valuable information at various levels. Okay. I want to tie it all together with campaign strategy and some examples. So let's jump into that. Campaign strategy, tying it all together. So now you can see with the highly profitable segmentation strategy I've shared with you, you can see how easily it is to send many emails a week and craft an effective 90-day campaign strategy. You can have 1 to 2 touch points a week with each segment and more if you wish, and I highly recommend more. The beautiful thing about this is the more emails you send, the more opportunities you're creating for yourself and building an authentic relationship with your audience. Additionally, naturally through the segmentation strategy, you're forced to meet them at the stage of their journey that they're in, which only gives them a more personalized experience versus blasting them with what I like to call glorified billboards. Okay. You have a segmentation strategy, which is cool. You learned a bit about RFM analysis, which is awesome. Now I want to leave you with some ideas on what type of campaigns you can execute with these segments. Okay, so story-based emails that can further the mix of segments in this particular active segment. Whoa, that sounded confusing. Story-based emails that can further the mix of segments in this particular active segment. Okay, so yeah, sorry. Make it a point to get them more emotionally invested with your brand. So story-based emails, you can leverage these and you can kind of use the engaged 30-day segment. Okay. And this will consist, I guess I was trying to say here when I wrote this is all the different segments. Whoever's engaged in the last 30 days, leveraging story-based emails is very powerful. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Story-based emails sell, they make money. I literally have clients where we're sending emails that have no CTA, no offer, and they're still generating sales because we're getting them more emotionally invested into the brand. Secret offers. So these will be things for like the VIP segment, secret offers, early bird product releases. Yeah, VIPs. Ultimately, you want to make them feel special. Yeah, so the VIP segment, you really just want to make them feel special. They don't necessarily need to be sold on you, your products, or your brand. It's because they've already spent the most amount of money that a customer usually spends. They're consistently purchasing. So really, this type of segment, you just want to take care of them. You want to make them feel super special. Cross selling and upselling. This can be very beneficial for a variety of segments to push them into that VIP position, as well as this complements your XYZ, whatever. If they purchase, for example, if yeah, whatever product you have, if you have something that complements it, that's what you can leverage. You're almost there. So this could be for potential VIPs. This could be for loyalists as well. Essentially sending an email that's just like, hey, you're almost there. And you can get a creative offer going, or you can just tell them, hey, you're about to be a VIP. Here's some incredible benefits that you get from being a VIP. All you got to do is make this purchase or whatever, buy what you already love, and you'll become a VIP. Are you ready to try this? Really, any segment works with this type of campaign. Just personalize it. For example, if it's someone that you're cross selling to, are you ready to try this? If you're a potential VIP, you can position it in a way where it's like, are you ready to try this? Like become a VIP? Or if you're a VIP and you want to get them on a subscription to be able to get that recurring monthly recurring revenue, you can even position it with that kind of concept for a campaign. Appreciation campaigns, any segment it works, very powerful. You always want to appreciate your customers and show the appreciation. A personalized story involving them, the particular person. So just this is where segmentation gets powerful because yes, you're creating a personalized story, but not super personalized on that particular person and their life, but more so for the segment. Because now if you have, let's say, 500 people in a particular segment, now you can create a personalized story. And then if you just use a merge tag with their name and you're catering to the ideas of what kind of have made them be in that segment, that becomes very powerful and it actually hits home with the reader. Improvement updates, so this would be good for rebounds. If they haven't bought in a while, it's a sneaky way to remind them, hey, come back. But letting them know as well, like, hey, we've actually improved on this. Perhaps that's an objection that they have and that's why they stop buying, because maybe there was something they didn't like about it and you're kind of addressing it in an open manner, right? Not trying to hide things. Change updates, again, if you change something, it can be a very valuable campaign idea. And then you get this for free for life. So this is a cool concept that you can leverage for a lot of different segments. But if you're a VIP, you can immediately let them know when someone becomes a VIP, hey, you get this for free for life. Or a potential VIP, and helping to push them into a VIP position. Like, hey, you get this for free for life when XYZ. Get creative. These are just some ideas. There's tons of campaigns and flows you can build with your newfound segmentation strategy. Simply get creative and keep at the forefront building an authentic relationship with your audience. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have questions or want me to go more in depth into specific topics I discussed in this video, just comment below. And if you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. And subscribe. Subscribe, like the video so this can help others. And I'll see you in the next.